Welcome back to the Webby and O'Neill channel. With me is Ryan Giggs. We're in the Europa League Final. Would you have believed that, Ryan?
Probably not on our obviously our league form. I think we have shown in the last few years that we can win cups, and we have become sort of a cup cup final team. So yeah, it was never out of the picture. I think when you marry it with our league form, then yeah, probably not. But our form in Europe's been good, and it's just a massive sort of contrast to obviously our league form.
Well, it's a contrast, all right. United fans, like, they've had their hands in their heads for a lot of the season. I mean, Ruben Amorim, what's your thoughts on how he described United this year, Ryan? The worst team in United's history. I mean, for a player who's won everything and been a great servant for Manchester United, to hear them words, I mean, we're in a final, but we're described as the worst team in Manchester United's history. Did that sit well with you?
Well, I think first of all, he's sort of dampening expectations and maybe talking to the powers above that, you know, I need backing and this team needs improving. I don't think anyone can say about United being the worst, even me, even yourself. We've not seen every Man United team. I think with the levels that obviously we've had in recent history and the success, we have fallen a long way. So I think it's first of all he's been quite truthful of what he's come to the club and probably not expected it to be so bad. So he's been very open, and which some people have found refreshing. Some people have found have had different views. But yeah, I mean, it was a surprising quote, but yeah, like I say, I think it was speaking to the powers above.
Ryan, a winger, great winger. We've had many wingers, and that people have been going, sort of saying we're lacking in the attacking sense of the word, like going forward, lack of goals and everything. I mean, how do you see this team changing, and what has to happen for it to change? Because the goal scoring side of it is poor. The wing play has been generally poor, and we seem to be like sitting back. Is that the DNA of Man United?
Well, obviously, I'm a bit biased. I'm a winger, and I think a massive part of this club's history is built on wingers. And even when we weren't winning leagues, you know, we had exciting players during the 70s who played on the wings, on the 80s, and players who got the fans off their feet. And I always talk about it, fans that when they go into work on the Monday, they're talking about a bit of skill that a winger's done, and you know, it lights up their week. So this system that obviously Ruben is determined to keep doesn't really cater for that. Whether you can obviously play a winger in the wing-back positions and maybe a more full-back, more defensive-minded person on the opposite flank. So yeah, it's not sort of 4-4-2 or 4-3-3. So yeah, I mean, you're not going to see loads of wingers, I don't think, in this system. But yeah, I think where we are now, the club have got a coach in who's got a certain philosophy, got a certain system, got certain principles. Now you have to back him and give him the players that he needs in that system. They are specialised positions, and whether we can get them is another story.
Well, you talk about players, wingers, and that. How exciting is Amad? When I look at him, and when fans out there talk about Amad, the way he keeps the ball, the way he runs at players, that's the exciting part. What United fans see, a proper winger, someone who is willing to go at it and scores goals. How do you see Amad in the future? You know, like, will he reach the heights, do you think, on what you've seen now?
Well, yeah, that is yet to be seen. I mean, I think Amad and Garnacho are exciting players. I think a couple of years ago, Garnacho was probably where Amad is now.
Yeah.
Come onto the scene, exciting, taking players on, playing with risk. Not everything going his way, but carry on trying to do the things that, like I talked about, excite fans. To be a true, you know, United player and a United great, you've got to do it over over a period of time. So Ahmad at the moment is exciting. He's one of the players who we're really looking at to make things happen, but he's got to do it for a number of years, and I hope he does.
Well, you talk about wingers. Over in Bilbao last week, Harry Maguire, a much maligned player at Manchester United, who I feel has turned it round. But I'll tell you something now, what wing play that was out there. That was the Ryan Giggs of old.
That was a better cross than I've ever put in. No, I think it was like everyone watching it was like, oh, wow. Let's give credit to him, because this is a player who, not only a player, but a human being who's took a tremendous amount of stick. He's never moaned about it. He's got on with it. He's been totally professional. Most of the time he's available. Most of the time he takes the ball and he doesn't hide. So credit to him. And yeah, it was brilliant wing play. And to be fair, it was a great performance.
Yeah, well, you look at Harry Maguire the week before that against Leon, there he was again. And you talk about a great professional. He's actually knuckled down, not moaned about it, got on with it, and then he pulls out a winner against Leon in extra time like that. So I was made up for him, everyone out there. But Harry Maguire, you know, he is, how can I say it, just knuckled down when a lot of the squad haven't. How disappointing has some of these players been to you that they've not knuckled down with the professionalism at Manchester United, like Harry Maguire?
Well, I think, the table doesn't lie how disappointing the domestic season's been. And the thing is, I think you expect us to not perform at home, which is really hard to take for a club of Man United size and prestige. You don't come to the games thinking that we're going to turn anyone over at home. And, I know from experience, and I don't like to go back to when we played, but when new signings would come and you would talk about their experiences, whatever club they'd come from, they would go, Old Trafford, you just made it so big. We just couldn't get to you. It looks the opposite. It looks too big for us.
Yeah.
And it looks like when we have the ball, it looks small. It looks like...
Is that down to the quality of players, what are there, what have been brought in? Like going out there and recruiting players. Does it look as though there's not enough mental strength in some of these players? For instance, I look at Anthony. We paid loads of money for him. He's out on loan. Same with Rashford, Sancho and Malacia. But to pay that much money for him, do you think some of these players, the recruitment has been poor, especially with the likes of Anthony? Now, he's doing well where he is now. So there's a level in there. And that seems to have been the failure. A lot of fans think that the level of players we brought here and the quality has been poor. Do you agree? How do you see that?
Yeah, and that's obviously down to the recruitment team. The recruitment has been poor over the last 10, 11, 12 years. It's also change of managers. So you have different principles, philosophies. You have different ways of playing. So you get all types of players not playing in their correct positions because you're just left with this player who the previous manager has paid a lot of money for. The money's been ridiculous that we've wasted. So, yeah, I mean, go back to what I've just said about Rúben Amorim, that, he plays a certain system. Now you have to back him. The worry is, obviously, if it doesn't work, then you are stuck with what I've just said. But at the moment, you have to back him.
Well, if they're going to back Rúben Amorim, especially in the summer, we've got Marcus Rashford, we've got Sancho, Anthony, we've got Malacia, who are out on loan. Surely if they're going to back the manager, they have to make sure that these 4 players move on, because fans out there, right, are worried that if they actually stay in the summer, they will disrupt what Rúben Amorim's got the plans for. Should they all go, Ryan? Because Rúben Amorim's made the decision, these players are out on loan, don't want you.
Yeah, well, I think that is obviously down to Rúben Amorim. I think he's probably made up his own mind, and it might have even been took out of his own hands from the powers to be to bring money in to get his kind of player in. Marcus leaves a little bit of a sour taste in your mouth because he's you know, he's one of our own. He's come through. He's done so well when he was first in the team, but he just doesn't. He didn't look happy here, and he looked under pressure. He didn't look like he was enjoying his football. So I think for Marcus's sake, he's still a young man to go out and enjoy your football. He looks like he's enjoying himself now, and you see that by his performances. So yeah, I don't see a way back for any of them really.
No, for Marcus, you've just touched on him there. Going forward, really, is his form good enough for what he believes where he should be? A team like Barcelona? Now, Barcelona, the last 2 games I've watched them, and many people out there have just gone right overboard about Barcelona. Excellent footballer side. Is he the quality for Barcelona, do you think? Or is it Aston Villa?
Well, I think Marcus can play in any team. He's shown the quality that he's got. It's just, for some reason, it just didn't happen the last couple of years at United. And like I say, when I played my best football, it was when I was free, when I was enjoying myself, when you were expressing yourself.
Yeah.
It didn't look like that when Marcus was here. Now it looks like he is. So, yeah, he needs to find a place where he's going to be loved and he's going to, you know, reach the levels that we know he's capable of.
Well, we'll talk about players going forward. Rumours out there. Rúben Amorim's touched on it about Bruno Fernandes. Rumours about Saudi Arabia and that, but he's turning round and saying this is a class act, Bruno Fernandes. Would it be unthinkable to let Bruno Fernandes go?
Well, the level that he's at and the rest of the players are at, it's night and day. You can never, no player is ever bigger than the club. But at this moment in time, he is the special player. He's the captain. He's the one who's producing moments in games which either get us back into a game or win a game. And he looks like a class above at the moment. So, yeah, it wouldn't be great if you're going to get players into his level or to complement him even more so he can get even better. So, yeah, you wouldn't think that it would be it would be unthinkable at this moment to lose him because of the quality of him and the rest of the squad. Because, like I say, it is night and day of what he has produced consistently since he's been at the club.
Do you think?
And he's always fit. He's always fit.
He always wants to play.
He always wants to play. He always wants the ball, and you know he's got weaknesses, but his strengths outweigh all his weaknesses, and he's a brilliant player.
If he hadn't been here this year, I dread to think where we would be. But I'll go to Garnacho, because Garnacho was mentioned by Ruben Amorim. Rumours and, you know, stories about him leaving or his attitude's not right or anything like that. Would it be a mistake selling Garnacho at this young age, knowing that there's room for improvement for this player?
It splits a lot of people, this. I like Garnacho because he makes things happen. Of course, his end products, you know, has got to improve. He's got to score more goals. He's got to have more assists. But in that position and the way that he plays, there are going to be dips. He's still a young player. You look at sort of the flair players. You look at, we just mentioned Sancho, Rashford, Phil Foden, Cole Palmer even.
Yeah.
All brilliant players, but all have had dips in their career because they try things, and sometimes when it's not coming off, it doesn't look great. But the one thing I would say is it probably doesn't suit him, this system, Garnacho. But he's another one who's always fit. He's never shies away. He makes things happen. But yeah, of course, like any young player, he's got to improve and he's got to do things better.
So Jim Ratcliffe got to back Rúben Amorim. He didn't want to come, Rúben Amorim. When he did, he wanted to come in the summertime. What are the priorities you see what's needed for Rúben Amorim to get into this squad to improve it this summer? The signings, what we need. People talk about, we need a striker, we need a centre-half, we need a midfield player. You know, basically, you can talk to some people and they're saying we need 9 players. What's your priority for this squad this summer to make us more solid going into next year?
Well, we do need 9 or 10 players, but we're not going to get them in this transfer window. So that's the dilemma. does Ruben Amorim have enough time to get his kind of players in, which might take a couple of transfer windows? We need strikers. It's a joke that Man United have only got one recognised striker. We've had 2, 3, 4 in the past, and not only 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4 quality.
Yeah, quality.
Centre forward. So, you know, if you do get an injury, if you do get a loss of form, you've got another player coming in. You've also got, if they're both on top form, they're pushing each other. So it's win-win when you get quality and competition for places in every position on the pitch. So that's going to take time, though, and that's modern football. Now you don't get the time, so you have to look at the short term and the long term, which is very difficult to juggle.
I just want to finish with 2 players what have been talked about, possible transfers to Manchester United, and that's Diallo, the centre forward, big strong lad, and Cunha from Wolverhampton also. What do you think of them? They both score goals, both work, the strength they've got.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on that? Would that be okay to bring them 2 in and maybe one more player this summer?
Well, it'd be an improvement, most definitely. They both got Premier League experience, which is a massive plus, I think, because obviously the domestic form just has been nowhere near good enough. So they're proven already in the Premier League to do it. They've scored goals. When we were playing, again, I don't like going back to it, but it's a fact. When you're in that dressing room pre-season and better players come in, it not only gives the fans a lift and the club, it gives players the lift. So if you see them sort of, for example, them 2 players come in, you're going to get excited because it is an improvement and they are good players.
I did say I was going to finish, but I've just got one more for you, Ryan. Sorry. It's the Europa League Final. Win that. How big a boost will that give this club in the summer going forward?
Huge boost because, you know, you win things. Is always good, and obviously the bigger picture of the Champions League. You know, I'm sure there's a budget here. If we get in the Champions League, obviously we probably have to go through the. Do we have to go through the playoffs? I'm not too sure. Probably, but there'll be a budget here and a budget if we don't make it, and obviously there's a big difference between the two. And attracting players, it can sway players whether they're in the Champions League or not. So yeah, I think it's massive that we do win it.
But it's the opposite if we lose it, isn't it?
Well, it is. It's you're starting the season sort of already on your back foot, where if you start the season in the Champions League, you got that excitement, you've got that to look forward to. It changes everything.
Changes everything. Ryan, well, I've got my fingers crossed for that final, so I want to win it. You know,
We'll be fine.
Listen, it's been an absolute pleasure having you. Listen, thanks for watching. Please put your comments in and please press that like button, and we'll be back hopefully in the near future with Ryan again, hopefully with that trophy. Thank you, Ryan.
Cheers, Tom.
Cheers.